Hey, good morning, good morning, good morning, everybody. It is Tuesday, April 4th. My name is Alan, and I want to welcome you to my Spiritual Growth Through Recovery podcast. The purpose of these videos is to grow my spirituality by following the AA program of recovery, and I do that by being honest as I can be, vulnerable, and accountable, which is why I make the videos. I'm not an expert in AA, in recovery, or in spirituality, just sharing my experience on this journey. All right. Now, the recipe for these videos is we read the daily reading out of the AA Daily Reflection book. There's a link in the description if you want to follow along there. I'll just share my take on what I took from the reading, and then share some other epiphanies, struggles, fears, whatever, whatever's going on to help me move forward. So, yeah. All right, so it's for today. Let's get Tuesday, April 4th. The topic's going to be crying for the moon and the promises. All right, so we'll start with the reading. April 4th. Crying for the moon. This very real feeling of inferiority is magnified by his childish sensitivity, and it is this state of affairs which generates in him that insatiable, abnormal craving for self-approval and success in the eyes of the world. Still a child, he cries for the moon, and the moon, it seems, won't have him. Language of the Heart, page 102. While drinking, I seemed to vacillate between feeling totally invincible and believing I was the center of the universe. Searching for that elusive balance between the two has become a major part of my recovery. The moon I constantly cry for is in sobriety, rarely full. It shows me instead its many other phases, and there are lessons in them all. True learning has often followed an eclipse, a time of darkness, but with each cycle of my recovery, the light grows stronger and my vision is clear. All right. So I guess some parts that I took from that was um, always having a feeling of inferiority, right? Self pity, poor me, victim. I've struggled with that a lot of my life. Um, and is magnified by his childish sensitivity. Really? Us, alcoholics, sensitive? And I don't know how, I mean, that never really goes away. I'm still pretty dang sensitive. And it generates an insatiable, abnormal craving for self approval. Never enough. I'm never enough. And that's something I struggle with all the time. And so just trying to, trying to kind of shed that as best I can. Um, and let's see, in the part about vacillating between feeling totally invincible and believing I was the center of the universe. I find there's a lot of extremes in my recovery, highs and lows, high activity, no activity. And so that's just the addictive way. Um, and I guess towards the end here, talks about um, true learning is often followed in eclipse, a time of darkness, but the light always follows. And I think that's just the biggest part for me is to just push on. Just this will pass. Just get through that day, and the light will shine. And instead of as soon as I get a bad feeling, oh, I'm gone. Take off. So anyway, this is my take on the reading. All right, so the next topic I want to talk about was the promises. In yesterday's video, I shared the anti-promises that's in the AA literature, and so today it just made sense to go ahead and read the promises. So on page 83 and 84, starting on page 83 in this Alcoholics Anonymous big book, in the chapter Into Action, as you transition from steps 9 to 10, the way I read it, there are promises that they state here, and I think these are provide hope, right? But we guess these mirror those anti-promises pretty accurately. So here's what it says: if we are painstaking about this phase of our development, we will amaze before we are halfway through. I guess I understand there's 12 promises, right? We are going to know a new freedom and a new happiness. Freedom is a big word for me there. We will not regret the past, nor wish to shut the door on it. All right? It passes the past. It is what it is, and no sense, belaboring that. We will comprehend the word serenity, and we will know peace. No matter how far down the scale we have gone, we will see how our experience can benefit others. To me, I'm starting to see now that as I'm, working through the steps, the real good sobriety, I think, is going to come by helping others. And that's hard for a selfish person like me. That feeling of uselessness and self-pity will disappear. We will lose interest in selfish things. That's hard to believe. and gain interest in our fellows. Self-seeking will slip away. Our whole attitude and outlook upon life will change. Fear of people and economic insecurity will leave us. That's another big one for me. We will intuitively know how to handle situations that used to baffle us. It's almost like we don't have to control everything. Things sometimes just have a way of working out. We will suddenly realize that God is doing for us what we could not do for ourselves. So again, I ain't got to do this alone. I got to control everything. Are these extravagant promises? We think not. They are being fulfilled among us, sometimes quickly, sometimes slowly. They will always materialize if we work for them. So, yeah, that's just my take for today. Next couple days, I'm going to be sharing some in-depth self-reflection that's been pretty alarming. Just sometimes watching myself is like, wow, man, like, what are you doing? Like, what's driving you to do those things? But I'm going to share those because I just think it's important for my recovery. So it should be an interesting couple days. I'm going to talk about surrender and kind of what it's like for me to get quiet and just what goes on in my head. So anyway, so yeah, I just want to encourage you to, whatever path on spirituality or recovery you're working, just stay at it. Just don't give up. Even though there's times where it feels like it's just, when am I going to break through? It does materialize if we work for it, and that's the key. So keep working, keep grinding, and keep giving it away. Try to find a way to help others, and that'll help us with our recovery as well. So anyway, hope you have a great Tuesday, and talk to you tomorrow.